It's great to speak with you today, Mohamed, and looking forward to discussing this topic of capacity constraints, and in particular feedstocks and production lines. So can you first provide us with a brief background of yourself?
For sure. So I'm Mohamed Eldabaa. I'm actually currently working on a supply chain regional role. I'm managing lots of supply chains for the FMCG sector. I also worked before this in the same field of the supply chain management and the procurement in oil and gas field. So for today's topic, I believe we could have some good examples from both sectors, oil and gas and FMCG, which is mainly covering mostly the 70 to 80% of the supply chains globally.
Thanks. Can you first talk a little bit about what is involved with the capacity constraints in these two areas?
Yeah, for sure. So currently, capacity constraints are the topic of today. Overall, capacity constraints that we are facing or we're seeing across all the industries globally is one of the challenges that everyone has a business is facing, which is actually sometimes drives lots of money to be spent to make sure that these capacity constraints are not a challenge to be a market leader. So in other words, the capacity constraints is a showstopper for anyone who tries to put his business strategy in action versus the actual capacity that he can have. Today, we will talk specifically on the feedstocks and production lines. So mainly your feedstocks suppliers, how can you do good capacities to exercise with them and understand exactly what's your continuity plans and the alternative plans, as well for your production lines. As an example, one of the worst scenarios for everyone, if you have an order with 100x while you are only able to produce 80, you will lose 20 just because you can't. So what is the best approach with your business strategy to make sure that every single case is delivered for the customer? So those are the main two mega points that we will talk about today.
Can you talk about how it's done effectively?
Yeah, sure. So for feedstocks, first of all, before we do our business model, so in the beginning, if you are doing a new business, you should have a business model with all your suppliers written in a sheet, and then you would go through each one of them with a face-to-face meeting, wherever, and you listen to them, what are your capacities, how the capacities will feed my production lines, and you compare those capacities to your demand and see if your demand is higher or lower this capacity. If it's lower this capacity, fine. So now you have an extra capacity that could cover any business demand increase or a fluctuation that you have. But if your capacity is less than your demand, now it's the time to check for an alternative solution. Some suppliers for the feedstocks are having their continuity plan. So you can find with some suppliers 2 or 3 or 4 or maybe more sites producing the same feedstock material for you. So you will check your supply chain with those sites to make sure that those supply chains are active. So this is the first model of if you are building a new supply chain or a new plant or a new business. If you're having an existing business already today and you're having a feedstock capacity exercise to do, you should map all your supply chains and understand exactly what are the current capacities that you have. And you compare those with your business strategy and growth plan and see if the growth plan percentage of your production will be in line with the capacities of the suppliers. If it's in line, you may need to make sure also that you're having a business continuity plan by having other suppliers qualified in place or having other supply chains active in place. So you make sure whatever fluctuation happening in the business that you are able to take those into consideration. On the other side, because now talking about the very developed markets, if your business in some of the developing markets, so mainly the India, Middle East, and Africa region, or the Asia region, or the Latin America region, you need to make sure also that the supply chain itself is stable, that the route is stable, and your shipping line, if you're importing overseas, is stable, and your local deliveries are stable. So this is for the feedstocks capacity constraints. If you face any capacity constraints issues for your feedstock suppliers, you have mainly two options. Either you invest with one supplier to increase his capacity, so he can give you more, and this could be a business decision, or you can go for another alternative solution or another alternative option, which might be a more expensive option. So you will say that if I can produce 100 cases of my product, the supplier can support me with 100. Maybe he can support me with 110. But if I need to produce 150, I will pay extra X amount of money to make sure that these capacities are provided to me. So this is mainly about the feedstocks and how we can think. So to wrap up, simply if it's a new business, you need to make sure that your supply base is having the right capacity in place. And if not, what is your backup plan? For the existing business, you need to make sure that your growth plans are in line with the supplier's capacities. For the production lines, mainly effectively, to do your capacity is to make a very good, strong strategic plan in place in advance of your production. So as simple as, what is my marketing plan? How marketing plan is targeting the consumer and the customers, and how this plan is translated into numbers in terms of produced product of myself. So this produced product, when you are doing this capacity analysis to see what's the demand in the market and how can I support. Again, it's more or less the same as the feedstock. Your production lines are able to produce 100 cases of the product. If you need to increase this capacity to another 100, you will need to pay more. So your plan will be decided by if I do or no, I lose this market share because I will not invest it now. So as simple as it's a choice of enabling the current supply to supply you with the right stock and finished goods. If not, because of the capacity constraints, what are the alternative options? For sure, all the time, as a supply chain member of the supply chain community member, you need to check always what if you cannot pay more for alternative solutions. Are there other same cost or maybe less cost options that are not revealed yet? So this is how you can map supply chain by checking the market through the competitors, through the market intelligence, to see how you can drive more business value through getting less sourcing option if it exists. So one of the things that we should go with is to check the market capability and understand how this market capability can supply or support you to enable business growth.
Thank you. And do you have any success stories or examples you could share?
For sure. So actually, one of the major success stories I could share from my previous company or my previous field, that we faced a feedstock issue with the supplier. And this feedstock issue was not because of the supply capacity. It actually was because of the shipping capacity. So actually, the shipping lines was not able to ship certain material to the certain place. So we worked together as a customer and the supplier to work with the shipping line and other shipping lines to enable more capacities across the shipping line with the same costs. By applying the scale of this company, how we can apply the scale of this company and make sure that the scale is giving the suppliers, the scale of the customer company is giving the suppliers the best cost formula to enable sending the materials on other shipping lines with the same cost of the base shipping line. So how can you think of solving the capacity constraint issues with the same cost without adding any extra cost on you or on the supplier?
Thanks for sharing today.
Sorry?
Thank you for sharing today on this topic.
Yeah, sure.